Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hope you're all doing great. The week has just started, so I don't know what your week has been like, but mine's been extremely busy, and there's lots to talk about. This is our first of, I hope, hundreds of episodes of public live streams every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Many of you will know that our members' lives are Thursdays at 8, so Tuesdays at 8 o'clock every Tuesday. We'll have a members' live, so it's probably not going to be as long as the members' live, but hopefully we'll have lots of fun. You can ask questions. We'll talk about what's happening in the world, what's happening in South Africa, the things that interest you, and we hope you really enjoy it. And there's 47 of you now. Thanks so much, and thanks, Marlene, for gifting memberships to the Errand. I hope you enjoy it. Please join us in our Thursday nights live stream at 8 o'clock, where we discuss many things, go through all sorts of documents, and go into a lot more depth for those that are interested. But we would really want the public to join these live streams. This is for everyone. So we want you to share these, like these. We want the algorithm to show it to as many people as possible. What do you have to say today?
The algorithm would be a nice name and subject of a movie.
The algorithm. Is there a movie, The Algorithm?
No. Horror story.
A horror story. Oh, you want to make it a horror story. Lauren would love to create many movies. She comes up with lots of good movie names. Maybe you can come up with an interesting movie name tonight. So there's a few people that aren't channel members. All the channel members, you will see they have a logo next to them and their names are green. So hopefully we'll get a lot more people from the public joining us. Welcome to the more than 100 people that have joined us now. Many interesting things we discussed.
That escalated fast.
It did escalate fast. And one of those is, for the first time since 1994, our president is talking about cutting back the size of government.
It's a miracle.
And we will actually look at the size of government. I actually have something open here, and it's really quite shocking. How many people do you think works for government? Don't go and Google it now. Just throw it out there. How many people do you think work for government? And I'm not talking about Eskom, Transnet, Spoornet, etc. I'm just talking government administration people. How many people do you think is employed in government? So you can understand why we have a 4.3 trillion rand. They call it public debt, not government debt, public debt that we have to pay. 250,000. What did you say earlier when I asked you?
300,000.
300,000.
It's very, very wrong.
1,400.
What? No.
No, Annette. You need to add
Everything
add
of
many zeros to that.
every municipality.
100,000. So it's all the municipalities.
Every
It's
office,
provincial
every
government.
department.
Andries 450,000. You're almost, no, you're nowhere near. You need to up things a bit, people. Yeah, please like and share this. 500,000, no. 680, no. Come, people. I really want to see this number going up. This is like an auction. 1 million, no, not enough. 1 million's not enough, people. We need to bid a bit more. It is shocking. 400, yeah, rand, yeah. No, it's not 4 million. 1.7, no, it's a bit less than that. So, 1.23 million. I'll give you the exact number. So, 1.23835 million.
You're putting a zoom here almost.
No, 1.23,
Listen
0835.
carefully, right?
Listen very carefully. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste it just so that your eyes can perceive the situation we find the country in. And these people all want increases now. 800,000 of them. 11.4 million exactly. So here we have a situation, and the minister said, this is Minister Dlodlo, okay, is trying to make us feel better by saying that 131,000 of these people will reach retirement age of 65 by 2025. So that is their solution. That's not even going to get us under 1 million. I mean, this is insane. I would like to see what it was in 1994, how big the administration was then versus now. Yeah, listen properly. I can see you laughing at the comments.
Mm.
So this is comment driven. It's not like our interactive. We do an interactive meeting every last Wednesday of the month, right?
That's where we supposed to keep quiet and everyone else is trying to speak.
Yes. I think you beat me. No, I beat you last time. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But yes, we spend hours and hours just having fun discussions about many things, some of them deep and interesting topics. But it takes place on Zoom and then we load it on YouTube afterwards. Oh, Cyril is way over 65. I like that. You should retire. Yeah, leave hours. So 1.23 million. I mean, the salaries for that. Remember that our tax that we pay, okay, 50% of that, half of it, no, 58% of it goes towards these salaries. So just so that you know that 20 cents in every tax rand goes towards debt repayment, just over 20 cents. And 58 cents, point something cents, goes towards these salaries. So 80% is spent before something comes towards us for service delivery. So this is a big fokoperacy, as I would generally call it. It's a stuff up of note. It cannot work, and this is why we are financially in the situation we're in. And the sad thing is they call the debt public debt. Yeah, we own this. We owe that debt to somebody. We don't know who. These contracts were agreed to with who knows.
With our beautiful public participation system.
Yeah, of course, especially during COVID. How many billions was it? This was 550 billion of this 4.5 trillion rand. I mean, it's insane. So, yeah. So Cyril now all of a sudden wants to reduce this lot. And I'll give you a link to this specific article. I don't know how he's going to do it. How do you think this is going to fare leading up to the elections in 2024? Wanting to cut down the amount of public servants. And he says it's to stabilize the economy. And there's been many warnings that the coffers are empty.
A bit late. I was going to say a bit late for that.
They are phoning the companies close to end of month saying, when are you paying our pay as you earn into SARS bank account so they can pay the public servants?
Wow.
If a bunch of companies 1 month decide that they're not paying the pay as you earn, I mean, the government is well and truly screwed. I mean, we have no extra money.
You know, if the ANC truly was in power and wanted to hold on to that power, they would just do a good job. It's that simple, because then everyone would vote for them. No one would have a problem voting for the ANC if they did a good job. And that's what they would truly have to do to stay in power. And it just shows you that it isn't about South Africa being strong. It's about South Africa being weak to benefit a few people, as usual.
I think quite a few people are having a good time. All the billionaires have become richer, haven't they? Especially during COVID. It's amazing when everyone else is locked down, the billionaires become like tenfold richer all of a sudden. Almost like they knew how to profit from this lot. Like water. I remember that some of our well-known billionaires in the country all of a sudden invested in drinking water. I'm not talking about the Jojo tanks before the drought, the Oppenheimers. Invested in drinking water just before the COVID pandemic hit. And then all of a sudden, the shops get flooded with drinking water.
Oh, yes, I remember.
We went and bought up all this local Spar stock. I think it was 2 months before the lockdown happened. And everyone said to us, what on earth are you doing? Why are you doing this? I emptied the entire truck. And I mean, we had, I don't know how many bottles, but it was all over the garage and everywhere else. But we were fine for drinking water. Yeah, they'll be bankrupt, Andries, if everyone did a synchronized holdback. And there are court cases happening right now around the country, around people that want to become independent in the municipalities. And the Concord is actually fighting against them. Okay? People don't understand that the Constitution is actually not in our favor. The Constitution does not support people looking after themselves and being self-reliant.
It doesn't.
It actually supports the government.
Well, I'd say it's the interpretation. It's vague enough to be open to that kind of interpretation.
So you're saying the Concord judges are just given backhands or direction?
Well, they're just stupid.
You should meet them and
They're
say that to
probably
them.
overeducated, you know? So overeducated that they can't see past what they've been taught.
That sounds familiar
It does.
with regards to the flat earth
I thought you'd say
situation.
that.
Maybe I should keep quiet now. I actually received an email earlier from someone that said that the lighthouse at Cape Point should not be visible from Strand Beach, because according to the Earth curvature calculator, which clearly the person hasn't checked, or the distance to the lighthouse should not be visible. So it took me less than a minute to check the height of the lighthouse at 200 meters, check the drop-off specifically of the curvature at 50 at 50 kilometers being 160 odd meters, but the distance is not 50 kilometers. It's actually closer to 35, which means that you will see all of the lighthouse and more sticking out still. And I always wonder why people stuff up like that. Is it because they didn't do science? They didn't do math? They don't want to understand what causes this problem?
When I was reading all the comments, just for
Where?
me, on our hour, but definitely your group for the past few days, that
Telegram channel. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's not a group, it's a channel. And for the first time, I realized the departure in grade 9 when you choose your subjects. Some people choose, in our school, it was either science, which was physics and chemistry, or it was business economics. I chose science. But then I think
I had to do science. I didn't have a choice.
those people, we all grow up, and then we have conversations and make decisions, and those that chose business economics over science just does not truly understand.
It's interesting how people, and I underestimated this, how people that do not have scientific understanding would argue against the scientific method.
Instead of saying, I don't know, or
yes, I don't know, or I'll find out, or I'll go research for myself. That's why I encourage people, first teach yourself the basic principles. And the best thing is in school, you are actually taught it yourself. So in science, you can see the experiment yourself. It's not like someone's trying to indoctrinate you. You can't be indoctrinated with a steel ball that has to fall through the...
It's not ideology, like life skills is ideology.
Yes, life skills is ideology. When it comes to science, you actually do experiments yourself. You prove it to yourself, and that makes it different. So when you've done science and you've done all the experiments and you actually get a grasp on it, physics, there is nobody that is BSing you. You have to yourself take a laser and shine it into the distance, or shine it to the moon and check the refraction, or whatever the case may be. Or look at a false pendulum and see how it's actually turning as the Earth rotates. I mean, you do these things. You look at a gyro compass and actually see how it changes over time because the Earth rotates. So I don't understand why people that have not done that training, and all of the flat Earth believers have this one thing in common. None of them have studied physics. None of them, like I have. I mean, I had to study physics because I ran nuclear reactors. I actually took them critical, etc. I know many people might not know this, but I was a licensed reactor operator. There's my paperwork behind me. And that is unfortunately why I have to put this up there. It's actually quite annoying, but you have to do this to just show that you have some semblance of experience.
I think that's what makes the initial channel you started, Dezz, so unique. After COVID happened, everyone just jumped into that rabbit hole of conspiracy theory, which was a departure from mainstream thought. And I think I can honestly, confidently say you were the lone voice of reason that explained what was happening without delving into conspiracy. And I don't think people are comfortable with that in between. It's either you follow the mainstream or it's deep in the conspiracy rabbit hole and there's no in between for them.
So do you think that a lot of people have said that many of these narratives are created to make us look bad because people try and paint us with the same brush? I mean, I did a poll today, and on this channel, the subscribers, 27% it's at right now, believe the Earth is some kind of flat. That's a massive percentage. I mean, 50 years ago, that percentage did not exist at all. So it was created. And people need to understand why, after 2,000 years of people living in the bush, understanding that the earth is round, people that are in a sophisticated society cannot just by observing things around them comprehend that. That people are being fooled, literally, by YouTube videos. I actually watched an interview where there's this channel that try and bring opposing groups together. And there were 3 scientists, qualified scientists, and 3 flat earthers. And I found it very interesting. I actually watched it for the second time, where they ask a question. Do any of you have your knowledge on the earth's shape from the internet? And all 3 flat earthers then walked towards their chair and sat down. The other guy stood back there, and I would have stood back there too, because I have my knowledge based on my own experience actually doing things. I don't need someone on YouTube to tell me anything at all. I can teach it in class. I'm actually a qualified senior instructor. So you need to call me then the Mason, which I'm not, a Satanist, which I'm not, a witch doctor, which I'm not, an Illuminati, which I'm not. You need to call me all of those things. And you can meet me. I'm willing to meet people. Meet me at the beach. We can go and look at the lighthouse. We can look at the clock tower and all sorts of things. And you will see that there's a curvature and you can calculate it exactly. And the calculations will be spot on if you're looking out over water every single time. And most people just don't make the effort. And here's the problem. People don't even understand perspective, the difference between standing up and being at water level, for instance, because they've never done it. They've never gone into the water and actually just stuck their eyes out and see how far they can see.
Well, that'll be a fun
meeting. It's like when we went out to go and pull crayfish off Eiserfontein. I mean, it doesn't take long out on a rubber duck before you can't see the land anymore, okay, at all. And then you start seeing the lighthouse from the island in the distance. It takes a while before you can see it. As you get closer, the lighthouse, you can see more of it. There's not a fisherman out there that believes the earth is flat. I can guarantee you that. And then when you go back to land, you can't wait to actually see land. It's actually quite a relief. If you had to go up in a helicopter, exactly where you're at, you'll see the land. So it's not like you can't see that far. You absolutely can. So people just lie, blatantly lie. And I think it's psychosis that's starting to set in. And most of these people also believe in many other things, like Antarctica. I mean, I know someone that spent 2 years in Antarctica in a research station doing very specific research on communication. I know someone else that did exactly the same thing, a past shift manager that I was with at Kubik, and we spoke about the experiences there and how the different countries work together at these research stations and what they do. So it is not an ice wall. I can tell you that now. The pictures are breathtaking, and it's not an ice wall. So, yeah, these people just won't share anything with anyone that believes the earth is flat. I mean, they'll just ignore it or ignore them completely. So they're not going to get that knowledge. And the Dunning-Kruger effect means that the person's disposition to wanting to learn is so contorted and distorted that it's impossible for them to rectify themselves. So that is really sad. I don't actually want to believe that. I really wish that one could help someone to understand that wants to know and do the experiment. Go and do the experiment yourself. Get the gyro compass. Go and look at, go to Pretoria and look at the Vogels pendulum. Look at the pendulum actually showing the rotation of the earth. And go and look at the ocean or a long lake. Just do it. Make the effort.
I feel like Christians and atheists haven't fought for a really long time. And this is the next best thing. It's the same quality of arguments.
This has divided Christians.
It has.
Muslims don't have a problem. They actually understand cosmology quite well.
But it's the type of arguments that are happening and taking place.
I think it's deliberate. I think it's deliberate to divide, especially Christians drive a wedge, not just a wedge, but for people to lose their faith. That's why I believe it was created. In my time in intelligence, it was very clear that there's very specific agendas that are being driven to take people off the beaten track completely. And the best way to do that is to literally infiltrate the person's belief and make the fake thing their core belief. Once it becomes your core belief, like a flat earther, it becomes their core belief. Their life is about it. Do you understand? The fact that they have this knowledge and no one else has, and no one has done the research. The fact that I've spent 2 years researching what they believe, it doesn't mean anything because I never did that. You know, I didn't put in that effort from 2016 to 2018. It's impossible because I didn't find what they found. The only difference is I actually studied physics.
That's a big
and
difference.
I understand maths and I understand science. That's the only difference. I kid you not.
The errant says here, there's a difference between the science and actual science. Remember, we had to trust the science on us during.
No, there's a big difference. Those people did not use a scientific method at all. When you rush something out onto the public, how is that the scientific method? It's not. The scientific method, you need to be able to reproduce the same result over and over using the same pre-agreed something. And you need numerous people to repeat that. This did not happen during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I agree with you 100%. But the scientific method is a rock solid. I'm not talking about scientists. The scientific method is any child that goes and experiments with dissimilar metals, heating it up, and the one bending in the one direction because the one expands more than the other. You can see it with your own eyes.
Why is a child heating metals?
Actually, I did it with a Bunsen burner. Can you remember?
No.
So you actually do experiments. It's real and you experience it. If you didn't do it, start now. I would encourage any flat earther to study science and physics. Because you will actually do the experiments. I kid you not, they're not just brainwashing people at varsity when it comes to physics and maths. They actually do real experiments themselves to prove to themselves what is going on.
When it comes
So
to,
it's a personal conviction.
when it comes to brainwashing and indoctrination, which I talk about a lot in the education system, it's ideology.
Ideology based.
Put in everyone's minds.
It's when you take a maths book and on the back you put comprehensive sexuality education undertones in there
Or gender
about
norms.
gender norms or whatever. I kid you not. This has been put on the back of maths books. So that is what we talk about. Maths is straightforward.
Science and maths is not ideology.
It's not ideology, people.
I'm afraid.
No.
The ideology that
History is written by the victors.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But science, specifically physics, chemistry, and maths, is based on experimentation. And even if you think that people misunderstand something, you know, if I have to hear another person say, oh, you're upside down idiots. In other words, the person at the bottom of the globe is upside down. How can you be that stupid? I mean, I'm sorry, but you're an absolute dunce for believing that. There is no upside or downside. There's a north and a south. And in fact, a gyro compass will show you the true north. In other words, the top of where the earth rotates on that axis. Exactly. Not magnetic north, true north. Why? Because it uses the earth's rotation. And the poor flat earther that actually bought that $20,000 gyro compass that moved 15 degrees an hour, he must have had such a bad moment. I mean, how do you feel? He was so certain.
I don't feel anything. I don't like wasting my time.
No, I'm saying, how must he feel in that moment?
Terrible.
Goodness. He
Shocking.
actually said, we cannot, this cannot be. We need to find another reason why this thing is rotating. Because he decided beforehand that he would agree that if that happens, the earth is a sphere and it's rotating. Shame. Okay, that's the end of that topic.
Yeah. Someone said something interesting and I can't find it.
Science is lovely, absolutely. Maybe such people should rather play with match books instead of maths books. I don't want to insult people, but you are stupid if you say things like that. You are not educated. You need to educate yourself. It's really important. And if you go and do physics, go to varsity and do physics. Don't go to the ideological classes or philosophy classes or whatever. Just go and do physics.
So I think branching off from that, from what I've gathered over the past few days, observing the comments, is that flat earthers believe that everyone's indoctrinated and just believe what their science teacher says
Correct,
and nothing else. And unfortunately, we are going to be releasing an Omega video on Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll be touching on this, what we truly have been indoctrinated with.
This is Omega training, the first public training video.
What we have been indoctrinated with through education, through entertainment, through how business and economics works, through everything, through how government functions and how they create policies. We've been indoctrinated to believe in the greater good ideology at the expense of individual freedom. And that's something we'll be discussing in depth, because when you threaten individual freedom, you threaten all of humanity. And that is something that we are opposing and creating a brand new alternative, which will hopefully become the norm in not just South Africa, but the whole world. So it's the greater good ideology that has taken root. And that's what I believe the Constitutional Court judges are fraught with. Greater good. We need to pass this law for the greater good. We need to do this for the greater good. Government needs to look after you for the greater good. Government needs to tell you what to do with your children and your body for the greater good.
And the Constitution, our Constitution allows that.
And that's the ideological problem that we have with the interpretation of our Constitution. I still believe you can have the same system, same Constitution, but if you have people with the right mindset that believe in protecting humanity and individual freedom, you'd have very different findings and very different laws being made.
Well, no, we don't have that, do we?
We don't. So we're creating that from scratch, and that's what Omega is.
So, yes, look out for that video on Friday. It'll be our first public Omega training video. And I think some people are confused. There's many people applying for Omega advanced training. All Omega training is free. It's the first thing that we have to say. The public training will roll out on this channel on a playlist that's already been created called Omega Training. And it'll be 10 modules. Each module might have a few videos.
Yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely a few videos. It won't just be one video per module, so you can do it in your own time and leisure. We've now had over 30 people that have successfully passed the pre-screening for advanced Omega training. So that's really good news, and there's many people busy with the actual application process. So there's a pre-screening, then there's application, which is not a screening, okay? And then there's something else after that, and there's quite a few people that have completed the process.
A surprise for those who don't know.
A surprise, yes. And I hope those that have done it have had fun doing so. You're going to have fun in the advanced training. We want 800 people as soon as possible to actually apply for the advanced training and get that information. And we're going to be talking about communication. If you think the earth is flat, it's just not going to work out, unfortunately. So this is why this is so important, because we'll speak about satellites in orbit, what they are used for, global positioning systems. We'll be speaking about many things that involve geometry, the earth itself, etc. So this is not a small thing. We cannot do Omega training with a flat earth believer. So if anyone is a flat earth believer now and they are willing to go and do the experiments themselves, I would encourage them to do so and apply for Omega advanced training.
How not to say goodbye to a flat earther. See you around. Get it?
Lauren. But the best is when a flat earth believer says around the globe there's lots of people that say this and that.
I think they've stopped though. It was one meme and it's come to an end.
No. I heard it the other day again. I think it's just you inherently know that it's a globe.
How are you going to circumnavigate this issue?
Okay, we need to move on from here. What else can we talk about?
Let's circle back to this later.
Which later?
Circle back to this later. No, I want to go back to what you started this whole live stream with, and that was minimizing the size of the
Government.
payroll of government.
Yeah, goodness.
And in this long News 24 article, Dezz put an article in. I'm not sure if this is the exact same one. Interestingly,
just put
so
the link
it's
in again.
headlined "Shocking Proposals." No, you haven't got the same one as me. I didn't have that picture.
Yeah, let me just copy this again so everyone can look at this. Cyril is actually he's saying that he wants to cut the size of government. For those of you that have joined later, 1.23 million South Africans working for government. I'm not talking about in the railways and ESCOM and all the rest. I'm talking government administration.
It's a lot.
It's almost 2% of the population. Luister nou mooi vir my.
Treasury has also posed the question of funding the 350 Rand social relief of distress grant. I think everyone can
come up with those words.
Everyone can do with a bit of relief of distress. But anyway,
350 Rand.
Which activists and CASATU want to see made permanent. It has warned that it would need to raise VAT by 2 percentage points to fund the grant beyond March of 2024. So I remember during the lockdown,
they know they can't increase VAT.
How the grants just came into being. And I was told absolute horror stories about how people were spending that on alcohol. And I just thought how ironic, because who owns the alcohol companies? Government gives the grants, which comes from taxpayers' money. The people who need they need the grants for food, but not spending on food. They're spending it on alcohol, which goes back to those that pull the strings. Very frustrating. But it doesn't end there. CASATU is deeply dismayed at the shocking proposals. And as whilst we appreciate the real fiscal constraints facing the state and the need to cut fat and reprioritize expenditure, the suggestions offered by Treasury of slashing expenditure and further decapacitating the state when the economy is in desperate need of stimulus and a well-oiled and capacitated public services will only serve to choke the economy and further weaken an already enfeebled government. CASATU suggested instead of that government address the main causes of economic malaise by fixing the energy and logistics constraints crippling the economy. So, Dezz and I obviously read the news quite a bit. Before I joined Dezz on this channel, I did not read the news very much at all.
No.
But now I read the news quite a lot. And what I see overall is just a government that lacks any kind of vision for the future of this country. I don't know any leader, and I don't mean in a leadership position, but anyone that has true vision for the country, of where the country should go. Everyone's just trying to solve immediate problems, not looking at the deeper issues. And no one really has this optimistic view of what South Africa could be. And unfortunately, they can have meetings, they can cut budgets. I don't think anything good is going to come of it. What are we looking at?
The 8 biggest donors to political parties.
Perfect.
This is going to be like our real...
Did you share the link?
No, I'll share the link now. Then you can look at this with me. Because this is what it boils down to at the end of the day. In the current system that we're in, with the political party gangs, here's the big funders, okay? The big 8 funders are South Africa's major political parties. And the interesting thing is that it says, and this is in Daily Maverick, which is like a DA output machine.
Unofficially.
In the past 2 years, a few power brokers have made the majority of political donations in South Africa.
Okay, so this information is on the IEC website. If you go to the IEC website,
you can actually find it there.
Elections.org.za, and then go to political party funding, and then look in those tabs, you'll find it.
So you can see it. It's open to the public. In the 2 years since it became compulsory for political parties in South Africa to report large donations, anything over 100,000 Rand, one thing has been made clear. A very small number of donors keep the local political system moving, which tells you it's not healthy. It's being controlled. So it's not members donating, keeping things going. Like in the organic humanity movement. It is literally donors in the country come from a single family. Guess who?
Guess first.
Guess first. So 4 of the top 8 comes from one family. Okay, think council of 13 families and also member of the committee of 300. Okay. Please like and share this video so more people can watch. So who's this family? The top noob. There we go, Eva. Oppenheimers. The Oppenheimers. So, here it is. So, four descendants of mining magnate Harry Oppenheimer, Victoria Freudman, Mary Slack, Jessica Slack Jal, and Rebecca Oppenheimer have cumulatively donated more than 40 million to opposition parties since the beginning of the 2021 financial year. So this is in a short period of time.
So you should ask the wives for money, not the
Yeah,
husbands.
the wives, yeah. Of the 8 biggest political funders, just one mining magnate, Patrice Motsepe, obviously donates to the ruling party, brother-in-law of Cyril Ramaphosa. The ANC's major source of funds are trusts associated with the party and the mining company United Manganese of Kalahari, which has links to Russian oligarch Viktor Vekselberg. So, top 8 donors, Michiel Leroux to the DA. This is CAPITEC, 50.37 million.
Founder of CAPITEC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Martin Moschel, online gambling tycoon. He's donated a total of 46.5 million. So he's given 2 million to Build One South Africa, or BOSA, that's Musi Memani's lot. 30 million to the DA and 14.5 million to Action SA. He wants the gambling going in all directions. Okay. Patrice Motsepe. So he's donated to the DA as well. To the EFF, he's donated 2.2 million. To the DA, 4.2 million. To the IFP, 687,000. To the Freedom Front Plus, 484,000. He literally wants his businesses waxed on all ends. 11.7 million to the ANC, so a grand total of 19.3 million. Then Victoria Freudenheim, 18.597 to Action SA. So I actually had a discussion with Lauren the other day, and I've openly said that Action SA has already been overrun by the people that used to be in the DA Brain Trust, is running the campaigns for Action SA. You will see New World Order ideology being passed along at a rate of knots like you've never seen before. And most people will fall for this. Okay?
You know you're rich when your bio is philanthropist.
Yes. Mary Slack, philanthropist. Isn't that what Bill Gates and his wife is called now?
Remember every Thursday when we do the people, when we do all the people, feature them. It's always philanthropist. Philanthropist.
So yeah, we actually do work through the committee of 300, and we'll carry on with that again. So Mary Slack, 15 million to the DA. This is between 2021 and now. Okay, Jessica Slack, Jal, philanthropist, also Oppenheimer. Action SA, 4.1 million, 2 million to the DA.
So Action SA has got a lot of money, hey?
Yeah, Action SA has got serious money. Rebecca Oppenheimer, 3.33333. Do you find that interesting?
3,333,333.
Yeah, I think she did it just for fun. To say this is a Masonic donation or something. To Action SA. And no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist around the Masons. I actually know what, and then Herman Mashaba himself, 2.3 million towards Action SA. But now Action SA has taken on a completely new role in the South African political sphere. And what they will do now is promote the same things. You will see Herman Mashaba do exactly the same things and implement the plans of the Bavarian Illuminati to create this new world order that they so badly want. And Herman Mashaba will just give a different flavor now to exactly the same thing. So we're not going to look at the influence, but I gave you the link. I'll give you the link again. And then you can go and read that article yourself. There you go. So, very interesting. What are you watching?
This is our ad on our video.
Why is there an ad? Oh, it's an ad running at the beginning. Yeah, there shouldn't be any ads in the middle. Definitely not. Okay, a third fell and soon they finally fall forever. Yeah, I wouldn't know what's going to happen. There's with regards to what your dad whispered in your ear in the ways. What do you recommend one should do if the next variant is the one you want? We don't know. I have no idea. The first thing I need to tell you, and I've said this before, people just need to listen. He said that the first thing will be, he said a virus, very specifically a virus. Now, many flat earthers don't believe that viruses exist. It's like they believe people are lizards, that every earthquake is a dump being blown up, deep underground military base being blown up, that direct energy weapons are zapping things all over the world, and that the Queen, before she died, was drinking the blood of young kids to get adrenochrome.
Can't be all in the same box.
Oh, no. I don't think with all, but with most that I have communicated with personally.
Impossible to believe so much nonsense in one.
No, that is the whole point. He's just clumping it all together. It gets really bizarre. Anyway,
Okay.
so where was I? That really distracted me. This ad is distracting me. Just skip the thing, please. Okay. So now I'm going to watch myself on delay. That's really weird
Well,
too.
you had the comments gone, so I wanted to see the comments. Now you're back at the.
Okay, so yes. So he said it would be a pathogen, and he said they hadn't decided what it would be yet. So they didn't know. So I have no clue. He hasn't told me anything later, except methods of delivery. He said things would be put in the water supply, very specifically. He even said that things would be put underneath the seats in taxis, buses, and trains. Okay. Now, I can't say that what he's saying is true. I don't trust many things about him. So I just couldn't ignore what happened with COVID-19 because it actually happened, as he said. And therefore, I can't ignore the other things that he said. I can't ignore them. It doesn't mean I believe them. Does that make sense? I never said I believe any of what he said.
You always told me he was in that case.
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
And then COVID and the lockdowns happened, then you were like,
Maybe not so nutcase anymore. Maybe he knew something. Yeah. So really, Lauren will tell you what I thought of my dad. Okay.
Well, he lived very extremely. I only saw him that one time we visited him, and he had these large bottles of soup on the top of his kitchen cupboard.
It made me so sick.
He gave you food poisoning. I don't know, I survived somehow. But that's all he ate. It seemed like that's all he ate. We actually went and got KFC this one time.
He would never take takeaways and stuff like that, ever. He wouldn't trust it. So he would make his own food. I find it
interesting. So I assume because of what he believed, he lived extremely like that.
I don't want to talk about him.
You started it.
Yeah. It's, there is a global system. It was actually called that at one stage, and then they realized their mistake. Anyway.
Cool. So what's next? There's so much. Nancy Pelosi, 83, will run for her seat in Congress again in 2024.
She's woman
83. She looks good for 83.
Do you think so? When last have you seen her?
A long time ago.
She's interesting. Oh, I want to talk about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, where they are on the political compass.
Please do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 83. Wow.
Yeah, actually. I don't know if those are the latest pictures. But so we asked people to do the political compass test for the pre-screening for the Omega training. There's a reason for that. And if you go and look at the 2016 US elections, Google 2016 political elections, political compass.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you?
Yes.
Why does anyone want to be in politics at 83?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you have made your money by now and just want to retire on your
No, that proves there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah. So if you look at the authoritarian people, you will see Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton on the right and authoritarian at the top. They want to tell people what to do. So a lot of people will think Donald Trump is an awesome person. He doesn't give a toss about you. All he cares about is controlling you. There's the younger Nancy Pelosi.
She was a pinup model, says Dave.
Nancy Pelosi?
I can imagine it. She's very
I wouldn't know.
Interesting.
Anyway, so you have Donald Trump and just below Hillary Clinton. They weren't that far apart on the political compass.
It's
like you were voting for the same person. Both authoritarian, both of them right. Hillary Clinton is so far from the left. It's actually unbelievable, the things that they believed in. So, yeah. Old age home in America. Well, it's not different in South Africa. Stock tips. Listen, to talk about her, is that Nancy Pelosi over there?
That's Nancy Pelosi back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, man, that's not her.
Yep. Yippity yip. That's what politics does to a person. Do you remember Obama?
She has age.
Do you
my
remember
word.
Obama when he went in? He was looking all young and fresh.
Yeah, no,
And then when he went out,
basket case.
he looked 20
But he's
years
still
older.
running the White House, so he's still in charge of destroying everything in sight. He loves doing that. So Donald Trump is not a people's person. He says to the people what they want to hear. I'll never forget when on Oprah Winfrey he said if he has to run, because he was a Democrat. Okay, I don't know if people know this, but he was a Democrat. So Donald Trump said if he ever ran as president, back then when he was a Democrat, he said he would run as a Republican because he can manipulate the Republicans because they're dumb. That's it. It's a bunch of dumb people. He can convince them of anything. He, in fact, said during his campaign, I can stand in the middle of the street and shoot someone point blank range. The people will still cheer for me for doing it and still elect me as leader. And he's right. That is how bedorned people became over Donald Trump as a savior, superhero freaking person. It's insane. He's a bit different now. But yeah. Authoritarian, forcing things down on you. You roll out 5G so fast your head would spin. So on this channel, we're not going to beat around the bush and say what you want to
5G
hear.
that zaps your brains out.
Yeah, that zaps your brains out. So we were actually considering putting all these exclusions in the questionnaire initially. Okay, me. We did discuss it though. Just there's people that walk around that believe that a 5G transmission tower can follow you with a beam and burn into your brain. They don't understand science. They don't understand transmission. They don't understand aerials. They don't understand any of those things. So they just believe absolute hogwash. And these people come up with YouTube videos where they make a cartoon of this beam following people wherever they go. And people just believe it. And then they go burn down, not 5G towers because they get the wrong ones. So they somewhat burn down their normal 3G towers in their local neighborhood. And they don't understand that there weren't any dedicated 5G towers then, that many aerials could do, or transmitters and receivers could do various frequencies. I remember during the COVID-19 lockdown, we rolled out 5th generation technology in the Joburg area at frequencies that normal microphones that you use in shows to sing with. That transmission frequency. And no one in the crowd is running for their lives, okay? They were using those frequencies, opening them up during the COVID pandemic because they knew everyone would need internet. And they were using that for 5th generation technology. That bandwidth. So is that now going to fry your brain? I don't know. People believe so much crap because once again, they don't understand science.
Science.
They
understand science.
I almost use a German word now. Anyway.
YouTube understands German, I think. So why do you think... Okay, so we live in an information age where we can Google anything, speak to people across the world at record speeds. Why do you think it is that humans will find the biggest nonsense ever to believe in and spread it?
I think
instead of advancing ourselves. I have to include myself in this.
I think the drama llama is a big llama. That I shouldn't use the word llama because you love llamas.
I love llamas.
Yeah, you want to have one. You want one.
And alpacas. And camels.
So a drama llama. Many people like drama. They become addicted to drama. They want to believe they know something someone else does not. Now, every flat earther has told me, but you don't know these things. You haven't researched it. And I want to escape myself because I will give them a lecture on the crap they believe. Not against it. I will give him a lecture as if I'm a flat earther. That's how well I know the crap they believe. Because I studied it in detail. It flippin' annoys me when some people just make assumptions. The other day, someone made a comment on our Telegram channel, and things get interesting there. Like, no mistake. Some posts I have to delete because it just gets completely out of hand. Someone made a comment, and a flat earther said to the person, but you've never even looked at the flat earth model. An assumption, which is childish. It's not childish, it's juvenile. It means you don't have the mentality of a primary school kid, because a primary school kid will think, shucks, does this person actually know this, or ask them, Not make an assumption like that. So somewhere in the schooling system, there's a huge problem.
Oh, no.
What did Neil deGrasse Tyson say?
What part? Uranus.
He said a lot on Uranus. But he said that there's 2 reasons why flat earthers exist. And to me, this is the key. You said we must circle back to this later. So I want to leave you with this. He said, freedom of speech, and let the alarm bells go off. Okay. Freedom of speech is allowing flat earthers to exist. And the next thing he said is a failed education system.
And listen carefully, he did not say that we should not have freedom of speech.
No, he did not.
He's saying it's a result of
a result of freedom of speech.
Coupled with.
But now imagine what politicians do with information like that. Politicians like Donald Trump, for instance, you give him all the power. Luckily, the president of the United States hasn't got a lot of power. Okay, they are just a puppet person in that big system they've created that goes nowhere. It's a system that ensures that the Rothschilds can run their central banking system and the Securities and Exchange Commission. And to the members on this channel, I've given you the links to our own South African feedback system to the Securities and Exchange Commission. I've said numerous times, we are not a corporation registered with them. It's much worse. We actually have to account for them. We, the people of South Africa, is the collateral for the Securities and Exchange Commission. All our companies, all our railways, all our ports, all our assets within Eskom, everything that's in the country is an asset that can be taken in lieu of our debt. Go and read our annual reports to the Securities and Exchange Commission. In fact, I'm going to give it to you right now. Should I do this? Open this absolute minefield, rabbit hole. So, what I'm trying to tell you is we are not a corporation. Not. N-O-T. Not a corporation. I'm not Fani Fonsa or any of these nutcases that believe that UFOs have done some crazy things in negotiations with our government, because they will never speak to our government. I can guarantee you that.
Can I change the subject quickly?
Yeah, please.
We were speaking about just believing what you're taught at school. That's what flat earthers say, people that believe in science do, or know and understand science.
Yeah.
So my oldest, I have 4 children. My oldest was relaying a story to me about how Bethany, the youngest, told all of them to do something because I said so. Then my oldest goes, but Bethany, you're not supposed to just believe everything mommy says. You're supposed to find out for yourself. I've created absolute monsters.
Yes. Yeah, you have to live with the repercussions.
That was very cool.
Our boys went to the ocean when they were very young, and they observed the boats disappearing in the distance and appearing over the horizon. They figured out at the age of 6 that the earth was not flat, because they asked me, but why is that happening? The water must be going like this at 6. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to see this. And no, the Nikon P800 or 900 camera isn't more special than a Canon or any other flippant camera, people. Oh my word. I have seen it all. I started with a flat earth thing with the idiots that can't understand the conservation of motion.
I remember when we just met.
Oh my word.
How long have we been together now?
15 years.
15 years. That's a long time.
It's more than 15 years now.
It's longest I've ever known any non-blood relative. Congratulations.
High five.
Anyway, I remember when we met first, you pointed me towards the Flat Earth website back then.
Yes.
I don't know for what purpose.
I've been aware of it for a long time. And to me, it's important that people understand that it exists.
When are we going to talk about Middle Earth?
Oh, goodness gracious. So I did a poll. For those of you that haven't seen a poll, in the community tab on this channel, if you don't know how to get there, you just go to the channel Dezz and Lauren, and then you will see a whole lot of tabs. One of them is the community tab. If you scroll across, open that. I put out 2 top polls, one to the members and one to the public. And the one to the members had over 90% say that the Earth is a sphere. It's like relief. I am distraught that there's almost 10% that believe the Earth is actually anything but a sphere. And we will go and do an activity one day where we can all go and look at this. Just again, every time I look at the ocean like I did today, I could again see a ship coming over the horizon, and I could see way beyond that quite easily. So it's not that I'm restricted with regards to my eyesight. Often you can see quite far into the distance. So we are going to do experiments. I've called a couple of people, and we will brainstorm.
It's pointless, Dezz. You're wasting your time.
No. Just so that we have a point of reference for people that are trying to search for truth. Because there's nothing wrong with people questioning something. People are supposed to question things. It's when you unemphatically say it is so, there's something freaking wrong with you because your science is messed up. The evidence is so much. For every rocket that's being launched into the sky, I mean, SpaceX has done over 60 Falcon 9 launches this year. Over 60, with massive crowds watching. It's not just that the crowds are watching, it's that you can watch the rocket go up and watch the live stream from a camera that's on the freaking rocket into space, all the way.
When did you say that?
What?
That.
What?
I need to censor you sometimes. Pristine eagle.
Respirators. No, I never said that. I said that you need to be in a dry place. If there's a pathogen that can be alive, for instance, a virus can be a pathogen. So I just said the best place that you can be if there's a pathogen released is a dry place. That's what I said.
The opposite of humid.
Yeah.
You don't want to be near the equator.
No, definitely not. I've never used the word desert.
I know. It's just interesting.
But that's what someone would hear. If you would do our level 2 courses, you will find out why people actually do this. Add words or get their perception of what you're saying, and it's called confirmation bias. Anyway, that is why we had to do the level 1 and the level 2 workshops, because people need them.
They were fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Enjoyable. Hopefully an opportunity for personal growth.
Well, hopefully a lot more people will do them. People need it, definitely. If that gap wasn't there, I wouldn't do it. Who have you attended those workshops, and what did you learn from them, or how did you find them? You can just tell us. I mean, we're not professionals at providing workshops, but we put together slideshows and spoke to all the points. And it's not something we're getting off the internet at all. It's all our life experience, giving you our input. And the first 10, the level 1 workshops is all about self-improvement. And the level 2 workshop is about you having the skills, using all your senses, your mind, etc., to integrate.
There we go.
And to be able to make a difference. Did you elevate yourself? Don't be an elitist. Be careful.
I felt like I was super shorter than you.
You were, but you're also leaning back and stuff. They were fabulous. Dry, hot. Yeah. So that's what I said. The best is to go to, if something like that should happen, to go to a dry,
I'd
hot
argue
place.
and say cold would also work.
No.
Freezing cold.
No.
Why? Tell
because
me.
under very low temperatures, they can flourish. A lot of them. But then again, many people don't believe viruses exist. So. You've done both trauma courses. The trauma courses, I think, were, it was taxing. We were tired afterwards.
Yeah, those were heavy ones.
I think a lot of people have given us feedback on the trauma courses. if anything, all of them actually add to each other.
They are in the order on purpose.
On purpose,
as well. What's traumatic is how long this winter is lasting.
Yeah, Lauren is busy freaking out. She's earthing out because the winter's taking forever. Yeah. At sea approaching Dustin Island, you could at first see only the top of the lighthouse. Then as you get closer to the rest, rises above the horizon long before you can see the island. Yeah, absolutely, Phil. I mean, I've been out there crayfishing and going out for snook. There's not a single person that go out there that don't understand the basic concept that the water is curved. I mean, it's such an obvious thing.
Can one find dry places in a place like Durban?
No. I don't think so. KwaZulu-Natal, you would get very rapid spread of anything there that because it's moist and hot there. That doesn't work. It needs to be dry and hot. Because it kills a virus. So very few viruses can exist in the sun under certain temperatures. They just will die off.
Desert gets very cold in winter.
So I'm not talking about desert here. I've never been to the desert in my life. I've been to the Kalahari and dry places in the Northern Cape. It's not a desert.
It's a desert, Dezz.
No, it's not.
It's so dry.
There's rocks and hills and stuff, man. A desert is sand. But it is dry and hot. So, I mean, yeah. Wherever it's dry and hot, like Oudtshoorn, places like that is dry and hot.
Careful, Dezz. Tomorrow the entire Durban will move.
No. Oh, my word.
That's hilarious. So then I'll move to Durban.
And SCBA is an excellent thing to have, okay? Do not have membership conversations here, please. Please, just understand. We can leave that for Thursday. Kakamas, perfect. Yeah, the same with bacteria, absolutely, Sean. So anything that is like a virus is not alive. It's viable or non-viable. So in very high heat where it's dry, most viruses will die very quickly. Like a mRNA virus is tiny. A DNA virus is much bigger by many factors. Like an Ebola virus is massive. And mRNA virus is so small that to purify it out, I mean, you can literally filter it out through porcelain. That is how tiny it is. So, with the people with their goeters.
A label under the video.
We're going to get a label. Shush. Yeah.
I don't want the label's going to appear, I can tell you.
What did Derek say? Yeah, yes, Derek. Sorry, man. Durban is interesting. It's an interesting place.
The warm ocean's nice and the warm air is nice. I'll take warm weather over this.
Yeah, but apparently the ocean there is flat as a pan, you see.
Flat as a pan?
Oh, yeah.
What are you trying to say? More flat earth than Durban?
I didn't say that.
That's what you're trying to say.
But we actually went out over on the ocean.
We were so lucky.
On tour, someone gave us a stunning tour out, and we had such awesome visits of dolphins and all sorts.
Almost the whole boat ride, we had dolphins everywhere.
Yeah, and can you remember how the harbor wall and the pier disappeared as we went deeper?
I was too busy looking at the ocean.
Oh, I always love seeing how the land disappears as you go further. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
That the earth is actually round. Don't you think it's fascinating?
I'm too busy smelling the sea air and listening to the seagulls. I don't really notice that stuff.
That's
anyway, it's I can't believe we're existing in a paradigm where we have to speak about this.
No. Oh.
Anyways.
Well, I mean, in advanced Omega training, we get to discuss many things where you need to understand the earth is a globe.
Yeah, for quite a lot. It's,
a lot of things. Yeah, like super important. There's actually, you can look at, never mind people that do land surveying. You can look at some bridges that have been built where you have two pillars that are a mile apart, where the one pillar is actually 4 centimeters more offset than the other one because of that distance and the difference that it makes. So if you had to measure the bottom of the pillars and the top of the pillars, there's a 4 centimeters difference because of the curvature of the earth. You know, the one lake in the US where you have these pylons running across the lake, anyone can go there and you will see the pylons literally disappear over the distance. The electricity pylons. So it's one of the most famous places where any flat earther has to earth out, because you can take your Nikon P800 or 900 camera there and you can zoom in until you blue in the freaking face. Those pylons are going to disappear, like completely. So yeah, it's problematic. But that gyro experiment was the best.
The waste of money one.
$20,000 is a lot of money. Yo.
Insane. Anyways, surely it'll be depressing to end this live stream on this topic.
Yeah,
So,
no, we must. There's so many awesome things happening out. Like Ramaphosa wants to reduce the size of government. I don't know if he's actually going to do it. Beata, I have to agree with you. This winter story is nonsense now. But just let me make one thing clear. Someone said something about climate change earlier. I wanted to mention, you can go and calculate, if you look at the height of most of the gases in our atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere extends very far, but at about 100 kilometers, you have 99% of all the gases around the Earth. So it's a very thin layer around the Earth. But if you look at the volume of that 100-kilometer layer around the entire Earth or the sphere, it's a lot of flippin' air. And then you can go and calculate how much CO2 is a portion of that, and then you can see how much CO2 we release. And that's not with regards to a debate around how much CO2 can be absorbed or how much we should actually have, because I believe that Greenland and those places, animals walked around lekker over there at some stage, so maybe we should go back there. I am totally against pollution in cities. Cities are an absolute mess. We should not be polluting. We should not be messing flipping plastic all over the place. However, initially when we built power stations, it's so that we could heat ourselves more efficiently, so that everyone's not burning flipping wood in the cities. So you actually saved on polluting the atmosphere by building a coal-fired power station, because the production of that electricity was far more efficient than every house burning coal or wood.
It's improvement.
People forget about that.
Yes, but there's one even better.
Nuclear.
Yeah. Efficiency, waste.
Oh, did you like my new nuclear conspiracy theory?
No. Oh, yes, the aliens.
The aliens in the reactor core. So I could literally start that and people will run with it. It's no different to the whole flat earth thing. And why do I say that? Why do people trust that I was a licensed reactor operator? Why do they trust what I say with regards to the national grid? Well, hopefully because you know that I operated on it, I synchronized generators to it, I spoke to national, regional control, visited the places, actually saw what they're doing. Actually, I've been to the places where switching is done. I understand switch yards. I understand. I've been to Muldersvlei, which is a massive regional substation. Looked at the reactors that are there, which are just large capacitors and condensers or coils that control the grid, the unity on the grid, etc. I understand megavars, which most people battle with. I understand all these concepts because I'm a trained professional. So why do you believe me on all of those things, but you will not believe physicists and scientists that have proven unemphatically that the earth is freaking round? A woman that made a drawing in the sand 2,000 years ago figured out that the earth is round. A globe. Sorry, not round, because then it can be a disc. A sphere. Sorry, a sphere, people. So yeah, we had this sorted 2,000 years ago, and since then, most people had no problem understanding this. So yeah.
So all the news articles off topic of flat earth, whatever, is pointing towards troubled times economically for South Africa, which isn't news because it's been happening over time for long period, but I think it's culminating
It shows
now.
sentiment at this stage.
SARS is in big trouble.
Big trouble.
The
SARS.
mining sector alone is down 22 billion rand.
So Kieswetter is begged with Cyril not to dump workers within SARS. They want more people. He's also working on commission, trying to screw people over for more tax money. And all of you should know that within the amount of tax will be reduced drastically because the size of government will be reduced
Has
drastically.
to be reduced.
Yeah, can't stay the way it is.
More efficient people doing more work.
Yeah.
Less people, but more efficient people doing more work. Anyways, so 60 billion rand negative effect on tax collections due to load shedding. So the government's really
They're in trouble.
struggling here. Government's distrust of the private sector. Government's distrust of the private sector. I don't understand that sentence. Has led to over-regulation, and it now wants to be involved in everything. But businesses need to be able to function freely and not be forced. So this is where
monitoring, tracking, and tracing of everything.
Everything's been put in place for that.
Breathes. Yeah.
With the way, like if you get a bank account, it communicates with SARS.
Yeah.
I remember when I opened my bank account, every time I have to do something like open a bank account or change my phone number, and you sign these documents, it's like selling your soul.
And I think a lot of these people sell the information out there. When I did a criminal record check the other day, the guy had to take all of my fingerprints like twice. Now, I've done this so many times, and it's not done with ink on paper. It goes straight onto a system, and I was thinking, how many people is he sharing this information
Shocking.
with? It is shocking.
And then, danger ahead for South Africa's economy. Manufacturing is one of South Africa's most
many
important
articles
sectors,
talking about that.
but a worse than expected
Which
decline.
shows sentiment here in business tech. Dark clouds gather for South Africa. So it's everywhere. And, since we started with the process of Amiga training, I just feel positive because we're doing something that's going to mitigate many things. And I'm so glad that we're finally there. We just need to overcome some plat copies. Yeah, but I mean, they will literally ransack your platform anyway. It doesn't matter where you do anything. They'll come in like we took out that American guy that absolutely deserved it.
Wow, I wouldn't say that online, but anyway, freedom of speech.
Well, we attacked his YouTube channel and got it shut down effectively. Very, very quickly. He made a video where he said, I work for the government, intelligence agencies. He's never met me in my life, never spoken to me. And I'm an agent for the ANC, without watching any of the videos of what I've said about them. Yeah, interesting. But he got taken down. Chop, chop.
Well, there's some questions in here. Did you hear Action SA supports nuclear now? I did not know that. What's your views on the possible breakdown of elections next year?
At this stage, it depends on what the Concord says. So the moment the Concord gives us a ruling, and this is a stuff up of note, maybe you should just end off with what you think about this whole situation.
There's more questions to address, but anyway, yes.
This whole Action SA situation.
Not Action SA.
No, not Action SA.
Direct elections.
No. What were they called?
New Nation Movement.
New Nation Movement, yeah. And what happened?
So unfortunately, I've always hypothesized that the entire process was to bring us to the point where elections are undermined, to bring about stability.
Instability, you mean?
Instability, yes.
Yeah.
So that, we get the ANC out and some other crazy oppressors march in and just do a worse job. So the constitutional ruling is making it more difficult for political parties that are unrepresented to contest, never mind independents. So, for instance, we're supposed to have about 6,000 signatures just to contest. You pay your money, 250,000 rand, and you have to have 6,000 signatures.
Some provinces is 14,000.
Mm-hmm. And
for provincial.
We have to do that on very specific forms, which the IEC has not set up or given us yet.
I've told you, just use the old ones.
they're not going to accept it. So
Why won't they accept it? It'll be the same details.
Anyway,
nothing's going to change.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, so this, because IEC is not ready with all of that, elections are just going to be pushed later and later, and elections can't happen 3 months past the month that the previous elections happened, which was May.
They've snookered themselves. So the Concord has snookered themselves. You've literally given the people that are the problem the task to solve a problem that'll screw them over permanently. That's what's happened.
If elections don't happen, we will literally be ungoverned. And
so the Concord literally now is in a situation where they're going to need to let an illegal election happen. Illegal according to their own ruling.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I don't understand how it's going to happen. Just like someone said to me, it's wolves making laws for sheep. And the current electoral system's not very democratic. And the changes that have been made due to this ruling is also undemocratic. So we just have more bad democracy. So neither of us is a solution. And if it results in South Africa being ungoverned, well, we better just be happy that Omega training's starting.
Yeah.
Because that's the only hope.
This is the most important thing now. And I mean, you are fully involved in campaigning at this stage. So, Omega training is super important focus. So please, if you're interested, apply.
Look on Friday.
Yeah. And then Friday for the public, the first public video. Everyone should do that. It's going to be some time before we start with the advanced training. It can't start immediately. It's going to take a lot of logistics, but hopefully we'll get it started in this year. But we want 800 people signed up.
800.
Yeah, and we're just over 30.
Yeah,
we've just started now. So it's great that we have 30 people that have passed the pre-screening. After the pre-screening, then you actually do your application, and then there's one more surprise.
How long before Omega application feedback regarding applications? Not too long. I don't think it will ever be more than a week. The feedback.
No, you get that fairly quickly. I mean, up until now, you will know. Most people have received their feedback. There's some mails that I need to work through tonight, but Laura and I do them together. We'll get people to help in future. It's not just going to be us, but at the moment, you'll see we respond Team Omega. It'll remain that way. We all need to work together as a team. This is where teamwork comes in. And with the level 2 workshop specifically, the focus is more on things that helps you to be able to work in a team or be a leader in a community, the level 2 workshops. So with this public training, it's going to help you to become a really good citizen. With advanced training, goodness, we can do whatever we want. We can change things to whatever we want to change it to. This has never been done in the world before. None of the world elites thought that people would actually make the time, put in effort to do something like this. So there's a strength, and there's no one that's going to tell you what to do at all. Everything is for free, freedom of choice. It's your own choice if you want to do it or not. It's that simple.
It is. Andrew says IEC said the signatures will be done online and their system will be up, if I remember correctly, November.
Online.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think you'll still do manual signatures. So what do they mean? People would have to go onto the IEC website and actually sign in for someone.
That will be interesting. I think it's so much easier to get a physical signature from someone.
That's bad, because now I wonder if that's going to be open, because some people wouldn't want to show that they've signed for something. I don't know. That's going to influence something.
We'll overcome any obstacle.
Yeah, no, definitely. For the national elections, it's less than for some of the provincial elections. I feel sorry for those guys. 14,000 signatures. In the US, to go to the Senate, you need 2,000 signatures, and that's quite a job. It takes time. You had to do 500.
So this is what they did to a woman who proclaimed the earth was a sphere. I think it's a good ending.
Okay.
Just a reminder of where
Things can go.
Things can go. Sorry. Yeah, go again. So she was stripped naked and murdered. And her eyeballs were cut out. Her body was torn into pieces, and her limbs dragged through a town where they set them on fire. And this comes from a group of people. Obviously, it was a politically motivated murder. And how do you pronounce her name? Where's her name? Hypatia.
Yeah.
Hypatia. And
Hypatia.
she proposed
Hypatia.
that the earth was a sphere. She was a scientist and philosopher way ahead of her time back in the day, especially as a woman. And I just found it interesting how she ended up dying. And I wonder often how many people are so close to that primal instinct to just murder anyone that speaks facts in an age of superstition and
insanity.
False belief and insanity.
Yeah.
It's scary.
You see, the things that actually work in science, the people that work in science, don't want to kill anyone. I haven't met a single scientist that want to just kill people.
No.
Not one, in fact.
Maybe in Nazi Germany that existed.
No, doctors, not scientists. Or physicists. Let me stick to physics. Physicists, astrophysicists, still physics, okay? Let's say physicists rather. That's a lot safer. Physics is very specific. And yeah, to have these people believe things so strongly that if they were in power, they would force things down your throat. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually saying that if these people had to be the majority and in power, they will persecute us. Where currently the people won't do anything to someone believing in flat earth. Because you have the intellect to endure it. Do you understand? You might tell them that you're stupid or an idiot or whatever as a worst case. And they would have to endure a lot of scoff and scorn, and rightfully so. Especially when you say that we have not checked things and so on. I mean, it's you're trying your best to insult people that actually know science, that have actually made the effort to do experiments and actually look at things for themselves. Those people are a danger. A real danger. And it's The Handmaid's Tale was what made sure Donald Trump didn't get reelected. Where Christian crazies,
yeah,
just strung people up and did insane things because they had insane Christian beliefs. It's extreme and it's not okay. And for us to avoid things like this from happening again, I mean...
Because every Christian, there's so many different churches, so many different denominations, so many different interpretations. So every Christian has their own understanding of the very same scriptures that they're reading. You can read the same verse and interpret it differently. 5 people will interpret it in 5 different ways. So to try base reality on an interpretation of a translation of an interpretation of a perception of something that happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, is very, very weak and dangerous, actually.
I think there was a movie made or a documentary made on her life that I watched many years ago.
We watched it together. Also,
did we?
Many years ago.
Yeah.
The kids are babies.
Yeah, so it's probably 50. So it's probably 12 or 13 years ago. And when she made the discovery, she was just looking up at the sky, just observing things, making the time and the effort.
Again, this is ancient history.
But if you keep on looking up at the sky, but they show writings that actually refer to this, documented writings. There's more evidence for her than evidence for many other things, but I won't mention that now because people will freak out. So people believe Julius Caesar existed. There's more evidence that this woman lived. So if you go outside in the night sky, you are going to see satellites moving across. So Starlink satellites are the easiest to see. You can't freaking miss them because they're like in a row. And if the sun hits them at the right angle, they will reflect the sun brightly. And someone said to me, and it's actually a person that I thought was quite intellectual until I started seeing their scientific reasoning, which was just worse than that of a primary school kid. When I mentioned that I saw the International Space Station and the Crew Dragon on its way to docking. And just for a short while, the reflection of the sun was such after the sun had set, because it was already dark. And because the Earth is a sphere, the sun was on the other side, it was still reflecting at that height, which is 400 kilometers up, okay, which is the height that the International Space Station is in a constant free fall around the Earth. And the reflection was bright for that moment, and it was just incredible to see that. And the person said, but if you can't see a Boeing flying at 10 kilometers high, how can you see the International Space Station, which is only 100 meters in length, 400 kilometers up? And it's simple. Why do you put a mirror in your survival kit? Why do you put a mirror in your survival kit? Because you use the sun to reflect that mirror in a different direction, and it amplifies it massively. Do any of you remember the disco ball that was put into orbit as a science experiment for the kids? It was put into orbit so that kids could see it for a period of time at a certain height before it actually re-entered and burnt up in the Earth's atmosphere. So it was just meant to go around for a while.
I want a disco ball in the studio.
Okay, disco ball.
So you can have the light. It needs to go around. It needs a motor.
Okay.
It looks so cool. Can you imagine?
We still have a motor.
We do?
At
so now we just need a disco ball.
Sure, I've sold some massive ones.
We can make one.
Huge. They're expensive. So they put this disco ball in space so that people could see it, especially in the early morning when the sun wasn't fully up. You could see it go across the sky brightly.
Oh, never mind.
What?
Message retracted. Someone was asking if the training is only for a certain type of person.
No, the public training is for everyone.
Public's for everyone, no advanced. Advanced is for anyone. There is an application process. But
advanced is for everyone. Everyone can apply.
There's nothing specific that disqualifies you.
No.
So I did see the question before you retracted it, and from what I could tell, the answer is no.
Everyone can apply for advanced training. All sorts of people have applied. Yeah. People I've never met before have applied and have gone through the application process. The pre-screening, I mean. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, well, this is almost as long as a members live.
As long as a Thursday night
live, yeah. So, yeah, thanks for spending time with us. I do want to apologize for actually discussing the flat earth thing so much, but to me it's not about the flat earth part.
Yes, I'll just close all these tabs and cover them next week.
Okay.
The flat earth, seems like you needed to get it off your chest. Bye, and bye.
I'm concerned with regards to the Omega Advanced training. If you believe the earth is flat, you're not going to make the training.
Okay, we never said that officially. We never made that decision.
No, we said before the things that we'll cover. Communications is part of it.
Yeah.
Communication is part of Omega Advanced training. It is detailed, people. If you believe the earth is flat, none of that communication should exist. You should not even use your cell phone. Because believe it or not, it uses satellite technology, not some Masonic tower somewhere. Really, anyone that believes that has got serious issues.
Why don't we spend a public live stream doing, or not we, I'll just sit here and be the student, a science lecture, understanding the basics of physics.
Why? There's plenty of people on YouTube that have done excellent presentations on physics.
Okay, well then we should share them in Telegram.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I'm sure people can just go and do that if they want to. But thanks a lot for joining us. Have an awesome evening.
Mm?
All the info you're giving stands in the Bible. What? I don't understand what you mean. I think you misspoke there. All the info you're giving stands in the Bible. Wouldn't you say you're fighting the word of God? So you are telling me that the information I'm giving is in the Bible. So why would I be fighting the word of God if that is the case?
Maybe what you're criticizing is in the Bible. Therefore.
No, but that's not what the person's saying. I actually read what people say. So
Yes.
they need to make it more specific.
We should have a 50K sub celebration soon.
Ja, soon. The sub, goeienaand allemaal.
So how close are we? You look at the stats.
Flat spin. There's about 500 subscribers to go.
Oh, cool. That's around the corner.
A lot of people have asked me, why don't we just move on beyond it? This is super, super serious. And you don't have to agree with me. You don't have my knowledge or understanding. And that's fine. I cannot expect people to understand everything I do. This is for people to lose their faith. Okay? To destabilize. This is bad news. I don't want people to lose their faith when we have gazillions of rockets going into the sky and you have video footage of the spherical Earth all the time, which you see with every flippin' launch of a Falcon 9 rocket in real time, live from space. And no, there aren't thousands of people creating it fake in real time because there's people standing on the ground watching the flippin' rocket like I have. I stood at the Test Flight and Development Center and saw RSA-2 soar into the flippin' sky and us actually deliver a dummy payload into lower Earth orbit, which means we successfully reached Earth orbit. I'm going to go to Swartkops and show you detailed photographs of RSA-3, a 3-stage rocket with the satellite still stuck in the deployment system. I'm so flippin' fed up of this nonsense.
Pressure is raising.
I worked with the people in the South African space program, Lauren. They were my friends.
Cool.
This is twak, man.
Love it.
Absolute nonsense.
Yes. Just, I need to cover something. Pristine Eagle, I think you're new to the channel and welcome, or at least you're probably commenting for the first time in this live stream. You say, yeah, you can't change the plan of God. These bad stuff will happen. I don't think we see it that way. If you believe that what's in, for instance, Revelations is inevitable, would you rather die a slave or die fighting for freedom and for what's right? It's about the choices we make on earth.
Absolutely.
And that's extremely important.
So if we have to come up with a saying, the Afrikaans saying, laat God's water oor God's akker loop, I did not once read anything in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John where what many people believe to be the Savior or Jesus Christ said that we should sit back and do nothing.
Mm.
No. He gave many action statements. He told us to be a certain way, live a certain way, do certain things.
To protect humanity, ultimately.
Exactly.
That's the message I get from it.
Yeah.
The message I get from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is be a humanitarian.
Yeah, and you get many of those messages from many religions around the world.
Yeah, so we'll rather die preserving what we know is good and right.
Fighting especially for the freedom to make a choice. Because the moment you remove that, you are not human anymore. Humanity ceases to exist. And then we become pointless. Really. Yeah, create change to remain free. Absolutely. And that's important that we do that. It's like a lot of people believe that some godly figure that I will never believe in is going to come and annihilate things and annihilate us. Go and see who wrote that interpretation of the Bible that you believe in. Yeah. Perspective. And maybe your mind will change completely in how you understand exactly the same book Don't listen to what someone else tells you. And please use the King James Version because that's the closest to a decent translation you're going to get.
Mm.
And then still, there's many stories. But it's called Bible stories for a reason.
I love this, and someone's quoted this, I think in one of our workshops, maybe it was you, Gideon. Martin Luther was asked what he would do if the end of the world was tomorrow. He said he will plant an apple tree today.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Absolutely.
That is a beautiful philosophy to live by.
Yep. Instead of being a drought sitter waiting for things to happen. No, man. It's actually, that is we do screen that in our questions.
How can SAPS members today do and promote effective policing without threatening the freedom of citizens? Oh, by dealing with the actual criminals that murder. That would be a good start.
Yeah.
And the actual gangs.
No, not so long ago, you forget that the actual criminals that murder were the ones not wearing masks while walking up in a park on a mountain.
Okay, yeah, but.
No, but. That was the actual criminal that murdered.
There are buts.
No, there's no but to that. That's what the government believed and told the police to do. I watched the police wait for a surfer to come in from surfing so they could throw him in a police van because he was killing people on the waves.
I know, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
There's a mic
it's
there.
Crazy. Yes.
There we go.
There we go. It is.
You need to speak, otherwise I will sound like a boombox. I think we're going to need to mic Lauren up in future.
Yes, because I move too much.
Yeah, we have 2 mic inputs there. You definitely need your own. You're going to patch you into this one.
Thanks. There was another question. Yeah, but the Popo, I don't know. I don't trust him. There's the question.
Hilarious.
How can SAPS members today and promote effective policing without? Yeah, I don't know. I think the best form of making a better community starts with individuals.
Awesome, Paul.
Don Wall asks.
Okay, so England was behind apartheid and the Rothschilds control England. So the people that were used for the whole apartheid concept, it was actually fascinating how that all played out. We will be here for another hour. I've actually done live streams with members about this. How the Afrikaner identity was created. How the Voortrekker Monument was created. How the whole story and narrative around Bloedrivier was created. How the Afrikaans language was formalized. If you look at how all of that happened at the same time before the Second World War, or before and during that time, from 1930 onwards especially, your brain will just explode. It's fascinating. So...
Loosely, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very necessary to create a nation where they could build like a super group of people, just like in Nazi Germany. And the reason why we had to have the transition at the time when we had it is because we were ready to launch RSA 3. Our entire history has to do with nuclear.
He has a request to do that topic.
Okay. Maybe I will do a presentation on South African nuclear history. I think it's going to blow people's minds. When you bring Klaus Schwab into it, his family, the uranium, Coburg, the French, Israel, the Rothschilds, Oppenheimer, Ramaphosa. When you bring the whole mix in, it is actually fascinating.
Hi, Lizette. I would not be able to give training, let alone do training. Is advanced training for only non-smokers, non-chocolate eaters, non-rugby watchers?
No.
The amount of chocolate I ate in 2 days is just a virus.
No, no, not at all. So what you check with, we shouldn't be telling you why we do the things we do, but you have received your you have received your application. So what's the problem? You've received your application. So, I mean, every person that has gone through the pre-screening received an email that said, thank you for completing completing and passing the pre-screening. It says passing. Okay, the application, there's nothing to pass. It gives information and thought. It's a preparation for advanced training more than anything else. And
I think, yeah,
it helps people to think about things.
In the time the 800 is adding up, the advanced applicants can do the public training.
Yeah,
which will be a nice warm up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chocolate addiction is mandatory. Marlene,
you don't have to be an OM member to do the advanced training, the errand.
Marlene and I will have a Ferrero Rocher party at some point, hey?
So there's actually someone that took quite a bit of offense with the addiction question. I don't know if he was actually surprised when he received the next application.
It's important to know under what circumstances people might become dangerous because they can't get their fix. So those are important things to know. And we speak, I suppose, me mostly with independent living and everything, speak about how bad consumerism is, how we're funding the 13 companies that control all our food. But I myself shop at shops and buy brands and buy takeaway sometimes and buy food.
And we want to buy quality. Remember, life is about enjoyment. We do want to enjoy life. And the one thing that the Rothschilds has given us through this monetary system is a massive amount of consumerism. And it gave a lot of freedom initially, and then the controls started to creep in.
Yeah, we have freedom to consume, and then it becomes all about consuming.
Exactly.
It's very similar to, is it WALL-E? Yeah, WALL-E, the children's movie WALL-E.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant movie, especially after everything that's happened the past few years, especially with what Elon Musk is doing with space and exploration. Go and watch WALL-E again with new eyes. I think I'll go watch it again as well.
Well, you have someone that wants to join home. That's really awesome.
Where? Oh, cool. The errands. Well, we have a website.
Irrespective of the training. But please do send in your application for the training. I made the video for the application. The email is underneath. So it's just bookings at omega.org.za. And soon we'll have the Omega website up.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. Shame, Lauren.
I'm saying that with a question mark. You've been on my case
just understand, when we leave here, we're going to be processing, I don't know how many emails.
First, someone said they want to join OM. I'm in the process of, I've changed web hosts from one host to another, and in that change, I'm going to be recreating OM's website.
So it's om.org.za now?
Now it's om.org.za.
How awesome is that, people? Awesome. No more long names.
So in about 2 weeks, I need to create 2 websites, never mind the million other gazillion things I need to do.
So Lauren is working a lot for free. A lot.
But Dezz is working more, under more stress.
It is hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to tell people what there's a few people that know.
But I must say, I know shame. A lot of you probably get emails from me much later than you should. If this was a corporate, I would be fired.
But you'll see how quick I am. If you get something fast, it's me.
Yes.
Definitely. I will sit till 2 a.m. to respond to people.
I won't sacrifice sleep. I do not sacrifice sleep.
Yeah, we've had 2 good nights rest now. I was up at 6 a.m. Poof. Then you go again.
I'm on the south coast.
You have water problems. People, the water problems will not be fixed. So a lot of people will get a seat in Parliament. The chances is definitely.
Where are you even reading
I can't see. Yeah, I can't see. It's almost impossible for him not to get a seat in Parliament because of the amount of support that's already there.
We'd like a few, if not more.
A couple of seats.
But that depends on people. So, for instance, we have printed 100,000 flyers. The plan is for 1,000 members to take 100 flyers and distribute 10 flyers a week for 10 weeks. If people can't do that level of social activism, then we're not going to get the seats. It's really going to take the actions of human beings.
But to get one seat, that should be fairly easy. If you look at what happened in the previous elections, if you have the same scenario,
we don't know what it's going to be.
I will definitely get a seat then. But if there's more people coming, then the ratios might change. So it depends.
We don't know what it's going to
Yeah.
look like. It's going to be completely different.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
will be different. But the difference is now people will be able to vote for countrywide, not just in a few places.
I'm so frustrated with this court ruling that's taken place, with the whole scenario, because any person, it's so easy to register a political party. You as an individual, and I know individuals that have done this, have registered a political party, and they're the sole people in that political party, and that's how they got into the system themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not an MP, they're in the local government. Doesn't matter. There is a way for individuals to be represented. But now with this new thing, it's becoming so complex for unrepresented. It's just made democracy, or the lack of democracy, even more unequal. It's
made
disaster.
It worse than it was. And that is why you knew you had to register a party to get rid of parties, to bring the bill before Parliament, because you only need one member of Parliament to bring that bill before Parliament. And then you will expose everyone. And when you're there, you can lobby people, people.
We have 3 possibilities within the system,
yeah,
which we'll explain on OHM's own platform. I am going to be doing interviews of OHM members on OHM's channel and interweaving OHM's plan with those interviews. That's happening tomorrow, but I'll only probably upload it on the weekend.
So the main thing is the OHM members and OHM supporters managed to raise the funds for the elections within less than 3 months.
Yeah.
And now there's going to have to be things like gazebos and so on, where people can literally sit at tables.
I'll announce that stuff soon.
Yeah.
So thanks, Don, preemptively for that support. Can we take anti-competition? Well, it's not actually Parliament. That's where it gets complex.
Well, the Concord is dealing with that right now, and they can't deal with it. This is the thing. The Concord cannot actually deal with the case because our constitution is flawed.
But the parliamentarians can't make the law either because there's a conflict of interest.
Exactly.
Stalemated.
So they are stalemated. They are snookered right now. They're in a checkmate. And they actually don't know what to do. If you look at the comments that the Chief Justice and some of the other justices made during the case, they basically said we're screwed either way.
Yeah.
So what we've said all along, that our system is a fraud, is playing out in real time in the Concord right now, because the Concord doesn't want to take the role of Parliament away and make a decision for them, because they say it'll be overreach. And yet Parliament is not implementing what they said they should do according to the Constitution. So Parliament is still unconstitutional and a fraud. It's quite a mess.
Yeah.
It's a chicken egg situation. And the Concord, when they sent Jacob Zuma to jail, the Concord went out of their jurisdiction to do something. It's not their job to jail someone because he wasn't found guilty of any corruption in any court ever. Okay, he just wouldn't testify in front of the Zondo Commission. That's all. That's why he was jailed, not because he was corrupt. He was never found guilty of any corruption. Now the Concord will have to do something similar and go beyond the call of the Concord to actually keep peace in the country. But it's not their role. So we are screwed in all sorts of directions. The question was, what could happen before the elections? And the answer is anything at this stage.
Yeah. Well, it does seem...
Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who is now passed on, was literally the prime minister of the Zulu nation. Okay? I don't know who's going to take over the reins from him, or whether they will just try and get rid of the Ngonyama Trust now, which will destabilize the country even further. And the push for the secession battle is just heating up like you cannot believe, from all directions. And people will still see in future what I meant by that 3 years ago.
Sure, there's so much to worry about. You got
I'm not worried about these things. Yeah.
Thoughts on public prosecutor being impeached?
Well, the thing is, the public prosecutor was exposing New World Order things. So they're going to remove her like they removed Jacob Zuma. And I'm not saying either of them were good people. but they were exposing the Reserve Bank. They were exposing Cyril Ramaphosa's funders, the CR17 campaign. All of those things they were exposing. I'm sitting actually with a file with Cyril's bank account details.
Why?
Yeah, remember 360 million in bribes for to get votes for him in 2017.
Yeah.
So Mkhwebane exposed that. She was exposing the entire agenda. Now, once again, I'm not saying she's a good person or Jacob Zuma is a good person. What I'm saying is they were fighting these people openly. And when you do that, they're going to come for you.
What ifs, man?
What ifs? Okay, whatever, people.
So, Pristine Eagle says, so there's a church, Unite 180, that supports Action SA. Maybe you want to talk to them. We, as a organic humanity movement, I don't know if you mean the channel or OM, but OM is not affiliated with any specific religion. In fact, we encourage diversity, and we have members of every thought and belief you can think of.
Yeah.
And we like it that way, and we want to keep it that way. So we'll never.
People often ask us why we don't openly speak about Christianity and things, and we're never going to do that because we are united around values and principles that people from all backgrounds and religions can unite around, and that's the only way we believe we'll be able to get over that hill.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel alone in this thought, but I really truly, deeply love that there's different cultures and religions. I think it's the most beautiful thing about the world is how different we are. Our different clothes, our different food, different music, different language. It's absolutely stunning.
It does become dangerous when there's narratives. And this ties in with flat earth narratives and many others that have been perpetuated deliberately, okay? Where people say that there's going to be a war against Islam by Christians. And it's been perpetuated by many people, including Donald Trump and his family. And if you look at his ties to Israel, then you'll actually see how dangerous that can be, because it's not the case. And people get, like they say, the earth is flat based on the Bible. They say that we're going to be fighting, Christians are going to be fighting against Islam based on the Bible.
Well, I'm not going to.
Rubbish. It's utter nonsense.
I'm not fighting my brothers and sisters on earth. That's insane.
Absolutely
Insanity.
No.
I think the Omega training should make it clearer because
it should sort this out.
We highlight how...
Do the Omega training.
Know your enemy is the first module. And I suppose what you just described is the perfect example of who's not your enemy.
Exactly.
And you've been led to believe certain people are your enemies.
I will have Muslim brothers and sisters fighting next to me and are fighting next to me. Definitely. And people from all religions and non-religion. Non-religious people will be fighting next to me. For the same values and principles to maintain the right to be free. So this is the key.
If you believe in freedom of religion, and if you want the freedom to practice your religion, just by default, you should then believe in the freedom for other people to practice their religion. And by default, you should believe in the freedom for people to be non-religious too. And I think it's less and less now. But in the beginning, when I started OM, there's a lot of people that wanted to push Christian principles in government. I think that is ridiculous and dangerous because we all know what happened with the Spanish Inquisition and all the rest. You can't have that. You can't have one's spiritual beliefs intertwining with administration of government services.
So our pre-screening deals with issues like that.
I mean, individuals have the freedom to be whatever religion they choose, but in government itself has to be neutral. And then the people in government is a whole array of different beliefs. And that's how you have this beautiful democracy forming.
Salome, die slag van Bloedrivier het werklik plaasgevind. Dus die stories daarna rondom wat daar gebeur het, wat absoluut gevorm was.
Love what Adrian says. Religion is man-made, so they have man-made agendas.
Absolutely.
This doesn't mean there is no God.
Very well said.
Sums up what I believe, Adrian.
Very well said. Or I just call it the highest intelligence in the universe, because then you can't insult anyone. you either believe there is no intelligent force in the universe, and everything we do is not going to work out for you if you believe that. So most of the people that will do the training or be own members and so on believe there is intelligence in the universe, in whatever shape or form. And I believe that there is a highest intelligence that created what we're experiencing. And there's so much of that we cannot fully understand in this current situation we find ourselves in. So, yeah, we would have to improve a lot before we would receive more or higher revelation or information.
Mm-hmm.
And when those men fought to put the Bible together, a couple of times, and bliksemed each other over which book should be there. You know, when people say that this is the word of God, I think, what? Have they read history?
In Catholic school, I was taught this exactly, that there are so many scriptures, we can't carry all of them around at the same time. It's way too heavy. So a group of men got together and decided which is the most important for us.
Nicaea,
and that became the Bible. That's exactly what we were taught in Catholic
now,
school.
there's so many people that absolutely ridicule the Catholic Church, but revere the book that they put together. Because that's how I see it. And if people hate that about me, then that's fine. I really don't care. To me, I really believe that people should follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, not other people. Not other people.
You what?
He actually
not
taught
other people.
things.
Okay.
Yeah, not other people. They should follow his teachings. I think you'll be wise to follow many of the things that he said. I remember when Elon Musk said to people, I really believe in the teachings of Jesus, what he taught. And he even said, if I need to be saved, then I'm willing to be saved. And I actually found that quite interesting, that he revered his teachings and that he believes that humanity should live by those teachings. So a lot of people have added their own wants and wills, control, power to a book and understandings that came from a long time ago. And, you know, if you haven't progressed to the point where you can read any book, the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, or whatever, from a historical perspective and try and learn from it, instead of saying, I'm going to force this down someone else's throat. If you don't do it, I'm going to kill you or burn you at the stake or whatever. You can't be a part of this community because I don't want you anywhere near me. You're a danger to society. We should all be able to work together, no matter what culture, background, religion we are. We can be united by the values and principles of Om. That's that simple. A beautiful thing. And a lot of people hate us for saying that.
I don't know. I wonder how many...
I don't think you understand because you were an atheist.
I was.
Yeah. So you weren't exposed to that world. The world I grew up in was insane. Jy sal brand in die hel. Jy sal in die lava lê vir die res van jou lewe and whatever. You will burn permanently, etc., etc. There were some weird people that wrote stuff that is reflected in what we call the Bible today. Some messed up people, really messed up. Yeah.
Okay, so we started off talking about how government might get a little bit smaller because the president
So 1.23 million people working for government administration. 1.23 million.
Yes. And we've reached a point where the coffers are emptied, as the newspaper said the other day, and SARS just isn't getting the money it's hoping for. So the president of the country
has
decided to...
They must cut back on the size of government.
Yep. If that's actually going to happen, it's another story.
No, he just has to say it to please a few people. Financially, because he needs more money to pillage more money.
Then we spoke about flat Earth. Then we spoke about the 8 top funders of the main political parties.
We didn't speak about flat Earth. We spoke about the Earth,
the Earth.
which is a sphere.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Earthers, I said. And then, maybe go down to 1.1 million.
Not even that. With what they're going to lose,
Yeah.
100 and something thousand.
So I think that was the most interesting to me, to see the top 8 people who fund the political parties.
From the top 8 people that fund political parties, 4 are Oppenheimers people.
Fascinating. And almost all of them are philanthropists. I think
so. The DA gets more funding from these people than the ANC does.
He wants to become a philanthropist with me.
Yeah.
If we subtract them, how many taxpayers are left?
Yo.
Okay, so then you went on a tangent on science again and shines. Science versus shines.
Shines. Yes.
And then we spoke a little bit more about the government and the failing economy and the doom and gloom in the news, and then we circled back.
Oh, but then we went back to the positive things.
We're
doing the Omega training that we'll be doing.
Yeah.
Where we can communicate because we have satellites, some of them in stationary orbit around the Earth, which means they need to be really far away.
So my question is, what are we talking about next week?
Oh, the shield that you smack into.
What?
When you send the rocket up. The rockets go like this. This is shield, this dome. The rockets go up and they go ding, like that.
What kind of sound does it make? Like it's hitting plastic?
No, they said you can hear the thing hitting the shield. I don't know about the shield.
Gives a whole new meaning to vibes.
Meantime, it was the parachute deploying out of an amateur rocket that was shot high enough that it could see literally. Oh no, but remember it's a fisheye camera, so you could see the curvature.
Okay, so I understand things a little bit better. You know, there's a lot of
Lauren didn't know that this existed. She couldn't believe that there's people that believe there's actually a dome over a flat Earth. And that's the majority that believe that. Remember, I gave 3 flat Earth scenarios.
I don't want to judge, okay? People can believe what they want to.
It's bedonend,
I remember
bedonend.
while we were touring,
I want to help them.
There were many movies I watched, and then I can try see, there's similarities in society in this movie and similarities in society in that movie. And then on tour, when we toured the country, because that's what we did. I don't know if everyone knows that.
For 18 months.
A lot of people said we're like the Truman Show. Reality's like the Truman Show. And that's the one movie I did not resonate with regards to comparing our reality to a movie. And now it makes sense with what you say. Because of the dome. And all the rest.
Well, RSA-2 did not fly into a flippant dome. We tracked it all the way into low Earth orbit. So, yeah.
Ek is bly ons maak julle lag.
Round and round we go.
Yes, again. So I don't know what we're speaking about next week.
We were supposed to end the stream a long time ago.
Anyway.
Didn't we say like 30 minutes to begin with and then an hour?
I said 30 minutes when we discussed it.
Oh.
You said an hour today before we started.
Okay, now we're at 2 hours already.
At half an hour, you interjected and said, now we're as long as Thursday nights, and now we're at 2 hours.
This is going to turn into a waffle-a-thon. We did a waffle-a-thon for 5 hours.
It's still there out there on the internet.
You can go and watch it.
It's floating in
on
space.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Oh, but space doesn't actually exist.
No, space doesn't exist. What the vacuum? It gets sucked. You need a vacuum. You need a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, our clock has been stuck on the same time. It's 11:11.
No, it's 11:11, people.
Oh.
We see 11:11 a lot. We saw it yesterday again. 11:11. 19:19.
I am still seeing double numbers. I saw 16:16 today. Yesterday I saw 13:13. Sometimes it happens multiple times a day.
Yeah, but you saw 11:11 yesterday.
Again, yeah. It was yesterday.
And 19:19.
I screenshot it now.
I don't know what's happening to Lauren. She's just seeing these numbers continuously. When she looks at the clock,
Yeah, it's weird. I want to meet up with people that experience the same thing. And it'll be like, Dezz has seen it in action. It's not that I'm looking at my phone all the time. It'll be like I'm about to leave, so I'm looking at the time. Or
Yeah.
I'm about to get up and go do something, and then I look at the time.
Mhm.
So, on
Soon you're
specific
going to see
things.
22-22 if we carry on at this rate.
Yes, I also see a couple of those where it's like 1331 or 1221. It's interesting. It's fascinating.
Cheers, Pristine Eagle.
Numbers,
Yeah.
music of the universe.
Okay, I'm going to fall over and
Are you
pass
tired?
out. I had a long day today. I was up early and I had to deal with a lot of stuff.
That's very funny.
Synchronicities.
No,
What?
that's
We're being shocked right now. Yeah, well, we're on a battery with a 500 watt inverter, so we're okay. I actually charged it.
it's not load shedding
properly.
for us yet.
Yeah, but we're not on the Eskom grid
But it
right
might
now.
happen any minute.
We're not on the Eskom grid right now.
No, but upstairs we are.
Yes, people, there's a cheaper to the Red E that I did the demo. Well, not the demo. That I actually showed you that I bought, that we run one of our spaces with. There's a cheaper version. It's a literal Chinese copy that Gizu made. It looks identical, okay, to the Red E. And it's 8,600 rand, so 1,400 rand cheaper. Has the same specs. It comes with a surge protector plug, which the Red E doesn't come with. I don't know how loud its fan is, if it's as quiet as the Red E's fan. You can actually, it doesn't wake you up at night if the fan starts up. So it's actually really awesome. Some of these things sounds like a Boeing taking off.
Oh, beautiful. Oyster Lady sees doubles at least 3 times a day. I've started saying
Wow.
Lord's.
Okay.
Where are we? The Lord's Prayer each time is a trigger and makes a difference. That is really beautiful.
So that is an option for people that want a portable power station. I did put it on the Telegram channel. If you join our Telegram channel, there's a Lawrence.
The Eskom switch for load shedding is broken. So no load shedding for a week.
Okay, do you people actually know how load shedding works? They're actually allowing municipalities to flip the switches. That's why it can go on a schedule. So the municipality agrees to load shed a certain amount, and how they do it is their problem. Eskom can take that over any time they want. The municipality is not in control. If the municipality doesn't do what Eskom wants, national control will chuck them off without thinking twice, because it's about protecting the grid. So the guys at Simmerpan is not going to wait for Minister Ramakopa to give permission for them to knock someone off. They will knock you off without thinking twice. I used to speak to the Oaks in national control every single shift, and the guys at region. They don't take twak. I mean, these guys are well trained. There's a Woestani that runs national control up at Simmerpan. You should see that, Tanny. You will understand. You can't even mors nie. So she looks after her staff, and they will keep the grid from collapsing. You won't see a blackout as long as that Tanny and that staff is running that lot. They're the best in the world by a long shot. So just be glad that they're there. Okay.
Okay, I think it's really, truly time to say goodnight.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Soon it's going to be 11:11 at this rate. Yeah, 22:22. So good night to all of you. Yeah, I am tired at the moment. Just remember, I had a long day at Coburg behind me yesterday too. Yeah, we're getting that unit up and running. Unit 1, and then we're taking Unit 2 off, and then we're taking Unit 1 off again, and then we're taking Unit 2 off again, because there's more things that need to be done to extend its life. We will probably also do thermal power upgrades, which means you'll gain like 150 megawatts out of the 2 units extra. You're bored to death.
No, I was just thinking of something which reminded me of something else which made me laugh.
Okay. I don't know if they're going to ask me to help with that too. I'm starting to slur.
Help with what? Oh, that. No, don't worry about it now. Cross the bridge when you get there. Good night, everybody, and see you
Good night.
Thursday. See some of you on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday evening in the members live chat. Those people that were gifted memberships, don't forget, Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. Then we'll do deep dives. Okay. Yeah, we'll see
Nosedives.
Nosedive. You must still learn to dive. Did you get it right last time?
Yeah, but not from a height. I'll never dive from.
Okay, people. Omega training. Lauren diving from a height. You will be my witness. We will get Lauren to jump from at least 6 meters. Overcoming your fear. It's a part of the training. Come on.
I have band practice on Thursday. Catch up later. That's so awesome. Megan, you must still give us your details and when you're playing and all the rest.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
I would like someone to explain why would you have to make some calculations if you want to shoot long range. Yeah, I know snipers literally make allowances for the Earth's rotation. But yeah, JD, moenie is in toe gaan nie. Frek. Good night.
That's 22:11. Lekker.
22:11. We have to end now. Good night, everyone.
Bye.